Where in the world is Tammy today? Woo! I got some suitcases behind me. So I moved a dresser that was here and put up a shelf for some suitcases in the guest bedroom. And I also am redoing my inventory. I started out with redoing it because I had lost a couple of things over the course of this last 3 years on Poshmark. Things got misplaced or lost or whatever. And I started with just putting things in a box, and then it went to a tote, and then it went on a bed, and then it stacks of boxes and stacks of totes, and then I got shelves, and then I put the shelves up around the room, and then I moved the shelves again, and then I bought new shelves, and then I added to it. So when you start as a reseller, a lot of times you kind of just start with some of the things you have at the house, and then you go out and buy more things because you make some money, and then it just snowballs from there. So let's be honest, I've been a reseller for quite some time, and I started way back on eBay. So I had an eBay account. I was a power seller over there back when they had that. I don't know if they still have that, but stopped reselling for a while and got back into it on Poshmark. Poshmark had a easy way to ship, and eBay had changed so much that I just jumped right onto Poshmark. And then I started listing a bunch of items. Well, that was during COVID, and I was doing a kid resell event, a pop-up kids resell event. So during COVID, those reselling events, they just stopped, right? So I had to come up with a way to continue selling items. So I started on Poshmark. Well, it led to having a lot of inventory, and I was condensing boxes down from one box to another and moving everything over and changing my SKU number in Poshmark. They have like this little inventory SKU number that you can use if you expand your listing at the bottom. When you're listing, you can see that. But anyways, I was moving things over, condensing boxes down, digging through boxes, trying to find things. When it got to me looking for something for a day, 2 days, I was like, that's it. I have had it. Like, I have got to get this organized. 3 years later, I'm like, that's it. So I paused my listings, and I ended up starting from number 1. And so I pulled everything out of one box and numbered it 1 through whatever. So now I'm doing the number system 1 through infinity. So I say infinity, but 1 through whatever I end up with. And it has been so much less stress and so much weight off of my shoulders when I sell something that comes from the numbered system. I'll turn you. So these are the boxes that I got. I'm going to back y'all up just a little bit. And you can see these shelves. So I ended up taking the bottom front back bracket off and the bottom shelf off and lowering my shelves down, if you've seen my inventory before. And I actually got another shelf by doing that. So I have multiple red shelves that I got from Home Depot. My husband, I know in one of my videos I mentioned that we got shelves, but these 2 shelves my husband built me so they would fit in here along with the red shelves. And then this is my second red shelf that I had in my other room. So I'm going to take you over to the other room because I had to move some things out to move some things back, which kind of ended up being a whole mess of things that had to happen. Okay, coming down the hallway. It's just right across the hallway. So here we go. Hold on 1 second. All right, we are still in the middle of this redo. So it looks a little bit different since the last time you guys have been in here. I have a chair in here now. But I came over to this red shelf. This is my 3rd red shelf. So I still had, while I was in here, if you haven't watched the other videos, 2 red shelves on this wall, and then I had 1, 2, 3, and then there was a 4th black and yellow shelf lining this wall. And the other red shelf was in the center. So I had 2 over here, 1 in the center, and then the black shelves along here. My dad and my husband came along and built this shelf, which is a nice shelf. We just kind of looked at some ideas and came up with this dimensions on how we were going to do it. And then my husband built this shelf over here. And I kind of gave him a little bit different dimensions because I had wanted to add another shelf at the very top. But decided against it because this box, like, I'm 5'5", and let's be honest, this is kind of tall for me to reach. So I still get a ladder and get those down. So let me give you an update. Whew, this has been fun. So all of the numbers over there are organized and input into the numbered system. Let me turn you around. So when you come in, I come over to this shelf, and this shelf is done. This whole shelf is done here. And then I came over to here on this shelf, and I started with the smaller boxes, but I wasn't getting as much in them than I was these boxes. So I went back to using the longer boxes, which fit on these shelves fine. It's a really sturdy shelf. Like I said, they're pretty thick boards and stuff. But my husband and dad built them. But so I went and redid all of my inventory, and put them all in these longer boxes. I left the shorter boxes in the corner, because I planned on leaving this shelf here, but these 2 shelves may end up moving or changing. It just gives me a way to expand. So I stopped here, and I still have all of this space here to inventory. These boxes up here are full of hats. I decided for whatever reason that I needed to sell hats. The top 2 boxes, and that box is Funko Pops, which I'm still listing and going through. This here is random toys that I'm now removing from my store. Purses, ceramics, on the bottom, purses, cups and ceramics, more ceramics. So household type stuff. So those all, the purses aren't inventoried, but I know where my purses are. The cups aren't inventoried, and I know where the cups are. And I'm working on deciding what ceramic items I'm going to keep. The Funko Pops are still listed. I still have some up there that have not been listed. So all of these boxes on shelf 1, shelf 2 are empty. The bottom shelf is empty, and the second shelf is empty. So what I did was I went through and I pulled out, these are some more ceramic items, kids' toys, ceramic items, boys and girls' shoes and accessories, belt. These are all monster trucks. So if you look in my closet on Poshmark, you can see the 4x4 monster trucks. These are fidget toys, more toys, kind of household goods, baby stuff, arts and crafts, household stuff, more household arts and crafts, little holiday type stuff. These are toys and a few stuffed animals that I already pulled from my inventory, and that is all of the inventory that I still have left. I did not go through it. I made a lot of this not available because I'm going to, I think, remove these items with the exception of some of my holiday giftable things. They're coming out of my store. I'm no longer going to sell I think those type of items, but I also decided that I was pulling most of my kids' clothes. So a lot of the stuff here, not a lot, everything that's in these boxes right here are kids' clothes. Now I have a few numbered in the numbered system that I didn't pull out. But I will probably go through and either decide if I'm going to keep them or pull them out. So that's on the chopping block to decide if I'm going to keep them. Random things that I found in the redo, which is kind of interesting. I have my necklace, a charger, a knife, Thor's hammer, scissors, another scissors, random pins, a remote that doesn't even belong in here, nor a glove, and a testing kit and some zip ties, and a random phone that my mom had years ago. I don't know how that in here. My husband's hammer that was stuck behind the shelf we didn't even know. Some eBay tape that I use for boxes. My Florida sign. Receipts. I had a leg up here, but it fell off. a little crocheted breast cancer awareness, 5 cents, a fidget spinner, a little ruler. I don't know if I mentioned the zip ties, random black thing. I don't even know what this goes to. Another clip of something, and then part of the shelf. So, and then a glow in the dark star that my son had, I think, in his room at one point when he was a little tiny. Anyways, so it's a little tiny star. Anyways, so we had little stars in here, but so this is where I'm at. I ended up, these, you're going to say, well, what are the boxes on the floor? So this here is how I'm inventorying stuff. So I'm putting them in bags with the number on it. These 2 boxes here are 2 boxes I have not done yet. They're the last 2 boxes that I need to do. Because when I started going through them, either they were missing, I couldn't find them, I need to go through them, and then I found 1 extra box that was shoved on the shelf. So I thought I was done, but I wasn't. These 2 boxes are the longer boxes, like I showed you earlier. Those boxes are all stuff that is not listed. So either for whatever reason they were deleted off of Poshmark for not showing up in my inventory system or what. But there are 2 full boxes that I have to go through and verify that they're not listed again. And, you know, because when you search on Poshmark, you're supposed to be able to find your items by, you know, the item name. Well, that wasn't happening for whatever reason. So I'm going to go back through and make sure I'm not crazy, because I know a lot of that stuff was listed. And then, so that's kind of where I'm at. You know, I am almost done with this closet redo. So I have a full shelf over to my left right now. I have a full shelf over there that is going to be empty, like no inventory. I have probably a little less than half a shelf over to my right. That was where the inventory is over here. So I have a stereo system in here so I could listen to music. And so those boxes were all slide down because the 2 will fit right there. So I almost have 3 shelves left of inventory that I can use. There's probably like 3 purse boxes and two boxes. So once I pull this stuff here and decide what I'm keeping, it'll probably take up 1 shelf, and then the other shelf is going to be free. And then all of this stuff, if I decide to do some sort of show, or if I decide to sell them individually or just remove them from the Poshmark, I'm moving towards selling mostly men and women's clothing, kids' shoes, squishmallows that are still up there, the 4x4 trucks, things like that, things that are actually selling. And then this shelf houses, I've got some lounge flies. There's some lounge flies listed, a Cochin, Kate Spade's, and Michael Kors purses up there. And then I've got some shoes new in boxes. And then I have some not in boxes. But the inventory system is now done. So I can take the shelves that are over there and put it back in this room. But we ended up with a bubble on the paint in this room, and that is another reason I wanted to check to see if we had a water leak or if something was going on. And so I think when we had our chimney outside redone, it had rained, and in the middle of them putting the siding back on the chimney and all of that, I think a little bit of water leaked down into this room, and I didn't notice it because of my inventory that was like stacked high in boxes. And it didn't make this room, or didn't get anything wet at all. It just caused a bubble in the paint, and there was no damage, no water on anything. It was just a bubble in the paint and a little bit of wetness on the ceiling. So I'll show you. So right there, you can see where the yellowing was. That's where it came through. It didn't come down the wall, but I noticed that bubble when I started redoing my shelves, because I was going to put that red shelf here and put all my inventory in it. And when I started pulling everything off that original red shelf, if you look back in my videos, I actually saw the bubble and thought, oh my gosh, what is going on? And I can't see it in here because it's a little darker. This room has a little darkness, but you guys can see the water line where the water is. So we're going to have a plumber come just to verify it's not anything leaking. But I did move everything away from this area. So that is part of the reason why I move things to the other room and move things to the other side of my inventory redo, is because I need to have somebody come in and check that. They're probably going to have to drill a hole. I had the AC guy come in and look, and there was no leaking or over the pan upstairs in the attic with the ACs. So it's not wet. It hasn't been wet. It's been 2 months since I did the first video. Exactly 2 months to the day today that I started this redo, and I moved everything to the other room on these 2 walls to make sure that nothing was wet. And I keep everything, if you noticed, a lot of my stuff you see, I'll flip you back around one more time. A lot of my stuff you can see is in bags. Like all of them are in plastic bags. But nothing was wet. None of the cardboard. I got really lucky. And it was just a matter of the people that did the chimney, I think, is what caused the water damage. And so I will get that taken care of. We'll have somebody come in. And like I said, now that I've got this one wall completely, ready to be removed, I pulled a lot of toys and things that I'm probably not going to sell anymore. But I just kind of wanted to show you, like, if you have your boxes stacked up and you can't see behind them, it's always good to do a check in your rooms to make sure that you're not having any kind of damage or any critters in your stuff. We get pesticides, or not pesticide. We have a pest control company that comes out and does pet friendly, making sure that we don't have any critters. But if you have your stuff in a storage shed or things like that, always check your roof line, always check your ceilings. Make sure that, once every couple of years, go through your inventory, because, had I not saw that spot, if that water would have been, or if that leak would have been an active leak, then it would have been bad. So currently it's still not wet. I've been checking for 8 weeks and nothing. So at this point, we'll have somebody come and look at that, and I'll let you know what it is. I have a feeling it's from the chimney on the other side of that wall that the water had come in, and we just didn't see it. And it wasn't long, so it was long enough for it to leak in with the raining. And neither one of my shelves, which is kind of interesting, the red shelves that were over there, like there was a gap between the shelf that's the wood shelf and the red shelf that was there. So you can kind of, like I said, you can kind of look at my videos. But anyways, I'm just really grateful that there was no permanent damage and no wet clothes or any of that stuff. So anyway, that is Where in the World is Tammy today. So I've taken you along on redoing my stuff. There's probably about 40 items that I found that are not listed. I looked at my sell-through rate on some of my stuff that I've had listed in my closet for 3 years. Hard to believe I've been on Poshmark for 3 years, but I looked at it and just some of it just not selling on Poshmark. I either need to do a live show for it, or I need to move it out and do something else with it. So I know Poshmark has been doing where they're like, don't delete a bunch of things. So I made stuff inactive or not available. And I'll slowly decide if I'm going to make them available or delete them permanently. Right now I'm still in the middle of the redo. I still have, like I said, 2 boxes of adult clothes that I've got to go through. And then I have 2 boxes of clothes that I can't find. So I need to figure out if I need to list them or if they need to be, like what needs to be done. And then, the ceramics. I think I'm going to keep the cups. I think like the ceramic Boyd's Bears, ballerinas, things like that. I'm probably not going to be in the ceramic game anymore, other than maybe some coffee cups. I think I'm going to stop selling ceramics. And then kids stuff, I think I might move away from some of the kids' clothes online. I think that's it. They're not high sellers for me, and they've been sitting in my closet forever. So, I know there's a few people that do kids' clothes shows. I might go and like share my items there and try to sell them. They're not available right now. It's just so I can decide what I want to do next. But I have been talking for the last 20 minutes. So that's where in the world is Tammy today. I'm wrapping up my reseller redo. I'll give you one last update, or maybe a couple of updates if you guys want it, on where I stand on the next steps that I'm doing. So today, it is the 17th of June, and I believe I started April 17th. So May and June. That is 2 full months that I worked on getting right at just over, I think I am on, where's my papers? I'll show you. I am on 2,987. It's backwards, but 2,987 is where I'm at on my inventory. And I had just over 3,000 items, 3,300 or something items. So, I'm not inventorying the Squishmallows. So if you want some Squishmallows, go check them out. All right, guys, that is where in the world is Tammy today. If you haven't done an inventory redo, I would suggest, I didn't stick to it every day. I did a couple of boxes, 2 to 6 boxes a day. So it took me a while, but it was just me doing it. And, it did. It took me 8 weeks ish. I don't know if it was 8 weeks, but it was 2 months, April and May, and then, June. So it was like, quite an adventure, but it makes me feel much better having everything numbered, and I know where I'm going to pull it, because I can go and pull it in seconds instead of like, oh, is it going to be in this box? I don't know. I hope so. So anyway, all right, guys, have a wonderful day. That's where in the world is Tammy today. Bye.